There we go. Get this working. Bonjour, bonjour, bonjour. Good afternoon. It's the mouse.
You two can wait outside for a moment. I just need to go in and grab something. The workshop is a little messy, so unfortunately, I won't be able to show you around. Oh, yeah, that's not really what I mean. It's not the mess that's really the problem. It's just that the workshop is cluttered with way too much stuff. Books and even ancient and the Masters of the Nightwind. Everything's piled up to the ceiling. You probably won't know where to step once you're inside. Kachina suffered quite an unfortunate series of events the last time she went inside. Well, I suppose it was my fault for being so focused on searching for information at the time that I forgot to lock the door. After entering the workshop, she was shocked to find herself face to face with a massive woven scroll from the Masters of the Nightwind. Then she turned around, huge stack of forging blueprints. She tried to step out of the way, but... And then, boom! The forging blueprints came crashing down right onto her head.
Oh no!
She's lucky I noticed in time. I found Kachina in a daze and managed to save her before an entire set of the history of the Children of Echoes was about to bury her. I then dragged her up to the second floor. Ever since then, Kachina always waits outside the door and doesn't dare take a step in whenever she comes to see me.
Yeah, you're an artisan and craftswoman after all. We thought there would be weapons and armor hanging all over the place. But it seems more like a library than a workshop.
Well, my primary work is forging ancient names, which is much trickier than making swords and tools. Aside from the necessary craftsmanship, I also need to consult many ancient texts. You probably are spiritual will. And as a name engraver, when I'm working on a new ancient name, I'm not only trying to give it a physical shape, but more importantly, I'm also trying to understand the spirit contained within the name. And to do that, I have to collect as many related stories as possible and read through them all. But, as you might know, people tend to add a lot of extraneous details for stories that have been clearly exaggerated or altered. I must gather other This way, I can filter out all the absurd and exaggerated details and restore the person's life to its true nature. Only in true stories can you find the authentic spirit. And this is the only way for the spirit to become an ancient matches its essence.
We've heard about the concept behind ancient names before, but after hearing you explain...
Well, no matter how powerful ancient names could be, they would never be able to suddenly turn into a blade or allow you to smash through an entire cliff in one punch. It's just a form of spiritual power that's passed down from generation to generation. It doesn't have those kinds of physically tangible effects. Well, take your own names, for example. From the moment you appeared in this world, some person had already prepared a blessing for you. And that person then condensed this blessing into your name and gave it to you as a gift. It may feel like the moment you received your name is already in the past, but it will always stay with you and move with you in the future. Names are blessings for the future from people standing in the past. Well, that's what Auntie once told me. With this blessing, people will become more confident as they walk into their future. To put it another way, it's like having a lamp in your hand as you walk through the darkness of night.
Oh, I can see that. If you're alone when you're walking in the dark, it's easy to get scared and tired quickly. But if someone else is walking with you, then it won't be nearly as scary. And, well, you might still get tired, but it'll still feel a lot better than walking alone. The traveler always has time on my side, so he'll never have to worry about that. Oh, I sure really wish they could be your shoes, traveler.
Anyway, this is what Plisoli told me when I was training as a name engraver. And to be honest, I've only understood 20% of what she said at most. I've never... Well, that's not entirely true. Auntie and I have at least come to a consensus on the most important thing. Ugh, you know, I am sick of talking. We can talk about...
Did you hear a whole section of something collapse in there just now?
It's fine. It was just a bunch of very old... I kept this set of phlogiston wedges in the back, so it wasn't easy to take out. I had to resort to brute force. Come on, let's go disassemble. This is the place.
This cliff is pretty high. What are we going to do here? Are we going to climb to the very top and then throw this inscription down the cliff?
I'm going to use phlogiston to make an engraving circle on the cliff wall. That will allow me to investigate the internals of the central inscription. Well, let me see if this thing can even turn on. I was still an apprentice before we attempt to engrave the inside pattern of an ancient name with phlogiston. We always use this to draw out the engraving diagram on a cliff or open ground. Only after we've confirmed that phlogiston can float, if we want to dismantle the central inscription in a non-destructive manner, we'll have to use this.
Oh, so you'll be able to see what it looks like on the
For the most part. If it were just an ordinary, unfinished ancient name piece, I'd just take it apart and pour phlogiston into the internal engravings to see everything. But since it's a central inscription, it would be better not to destroy the blessing that Auntie has prepared for Nichika.
So, Shilonen, does this central inscription fall under the 20% you understand about ancient names, or the other 80% you don't understand?
Oh, don't worry. As I said, Auntie and I share an understanding of the most important principle, which is names aren't only by having names can things be sorted. For example, when I order ore, I would usually say I need volcanic crystals of about 35% purity and no more than 3% of impurities. Without specific names, I would only be able to go to the ore merchant and say, I want this and this. No, this isn't it. That one. No, not that one either. Yeah, you see what names are a crucial part of how we standardize our workflow. Without names? Yes, because forging ancient names is, as for the question of why it's important, as long as it does not affect, after all, creating an ancient name is quite the... Well, let me break it down even further. We're not in the tribe right now anyway. Essentially, by forging an ancient name, giving someone a name is a subjective expression, but giving someone a nickname is a much more objective expression. If ancient names or nicknames aren't descriptive enough, no one will remember them anyway. So the best I can do is gather all the information I could and try to come up with the most fitting nicknames possible, even though a minor mistake in the process could cause people to misunderstand the nickname. For an engraver such as myself, such mistakes would be considered a major blunder. Now I'm curious. Of course, this is also my line of work.
Nickname? Shilonen. Well, she uses phlogiston to forge weapons and make things.
But you should keep observing my work right, okay? Time to make like a smith and start smithing. Adjust the inclination by 2 degrees. Stop. The error margin is within an acceptable amount, but I'll extend the inscription link a little more just to be safe. I'll leave some space here. When the linked engravings are activated, the inscriptions here will overlap with each other. There! That should complete the flow.
Amazing, Shilonen! You were running all over that cliff as if it was flat ground!
Oh, no, it doesn't have anything to do with my tribe. It's just the phlogiston. But after all that running around, I'll have to infuse them with more phlogiston again. I should more or less, yeah. I can show them to you when we next find the time, but let me see. Start with angle 1 and act.
Whoa! A super huge diagram just appeared! Plus the holy central inscription is even below
didn't find any anomalies in the flitchist engraving. Well,
That means we can help Lasolo.
well, probably, but
Paimon will cover her ears after the booze.
even if you cover your ears, what are your thoughts on absorbing memories? But if you ask me, it's hard to control the by herself. Auntie can't.
Accomplices?
Well, here's the good news. Yes, this blaze gem inscription would be the perfect tool from a purely objective standpoint. The bad news is, I believe I've mentioned this before. In this process, the Wayab actually function like if you remove the Wayab from the process of trying to scoop up a specific grain of sand from a rushing river. Exactly. No. Let's consider that there's no way Auntie would let Nachka, and considering that Nachka has forgotten all of her past, she'll be unable to work on her own to accurately find the correct past. Only Aunt Felicoli can help her. So, if my hypothesis is correct in an ideal world, and I also believe that there won't be any but Auntie is not a Wayab. Her body won't be able to handle the load for long. Names are blessings for the future from people I've also made up my mind.